Much more fun. You know that only the good die young.
Oh, 10:34 on this 10th day of April. Entrepreneur extraordinaire. A little bit of wordplay. Caleb Lewis in studio today. Nice outside?
Yeah, very nice outside. Looking forward to the nice weather and the golf course.
Me too. Me too. I got tired of it, man. It's like every day. It's like sun's not out until 9 o'clock. The sun goes away at 3:30. You can't get on the fairway.
Yeah, man. I have golf league starting next week, so that'll
really?
be a nice transition into the hopefully nice weather continuing on.
Corny puns aside, you guys could hit a hole-in-one all summer long with these new tour lineups from Alton Odyssey Haunted Tour. This is great. So I want to ask you, your mom started this company, correct?
Yeah, 31 years ago, my mother, Marlene Lewis, started the company. During COVID times, her business partner and herself were kind of looking to step more into retirement, and they wanted to continue their ideas, so I was an easy target for that. Decided to purchase the company with my fiance Lisa, and we wanted to innovate some new ideas for tourism in Alton.
And now, when did you officially purchase?
Just right before COVID time. So so out of safety, we canceled our first year. We restructured. We were wanting to diversify the company from the beginning, so even during our purchase agreement, I kind of mentioned that I was expecting the haunted business to be one section of our total portfolio moving forward. Traditionally, it's only been a haunted tour business, and I wanted to diversify it, so we really brought some new ideas to life.
Well, you really are. And with that being said, I'm noticing right off the bat, the big one is that Prohibition Tour. And I got to ask you, I didn't realize that Madison County was kind of a hotbed in the dry era, I guess, of our country.
Yeah, it's all thanks to Hainer Library. Actually, they have a database with some amazing history of Alton. And so one night I was just digging around, doing some research, and I came across some articles that sparked my interest. Realized as I dug deeper the significance of Alton during Prohibition times and Madison County as well.
Really? Now take us through it. Give us a little tease of what you like. What was a cool point that we can kind of get people's palates wet on?
Yeah. So actually, there's a book by Robbie Calloway that is called Wetter Than the Mississippi. It touches on Prohibition in the metro area. So this is kind of what started to pique my interest after reading the articles from Hainer Library. Is I realized that Madison County was considered the wettest county in the country for arrest records during Prohibition. So there was the most illegal manufacturing and illegal consumption of all other counties in the country. So then, of course, Alton falls right into Madison County. And as our research continued, we found a lot of very interesting history around that.
Well, and that's what I think is so great about, Alton Odyssey Tours, just in general, is you aren't there to, sell us anything. You're here to, give us an interactive look at history, and you do your research. It's not, I don't want to say creating a narrative or creating this, story, but it seems like some of them are more, novel than they are history. And this is really a great way for us to learn and experience at the same time.
Yeah, we're really excited for the Prohibition Tours this year because we're collaborating with Vintage Voices.
Yep.
So that was another, Alton-focused kind of, historical event that happens every October. So they actually bring characters to life. And that kind of continued my brainstorming and how I could make this more innovative of an idea. Of course, tours around the country, they can put you on a bus and just kind of show you a building. And so our whole motto is behind the bricks. And also we're just really focused on community togetherness and innovation. So we do our research, but we also want to be different and kind of a little more exciting than you would traditionally think. We really want to tell Alton's story, but we want to do it in a way that's like exciting for everyone, especially tourists coming into the area. So then we can help with kind of growing our local economy and continuing that community togetherness.
Are you sure? Because I kind of like, if you look out of your left window and you can't hear the guy in the bus that's talking to you, that's what, I really think it's cool, man. And Lacey McDonald over at the Genealogy Library and Vintage Voices, I'm sure is a part of, helping with that. And really great work. And
fantastic.
Part of, whenever since we met, your big thing's been really collaborating with different, assets of the community, just like this one. So when do these tours kick off for the Prohibition tour of things? Is this late April, early May?
Yes, actually, April 22nd is our first Prohibition tour. We're only selling 21 tickets to each tour. We're going to have 11 Prohibition tours.
Oh, wow.
We're introducing 4 new tour ideas this year. So we've actually increased our tour offerings by over 300%. We're also kind of becoming this chameleon company for private tours as well. So we just actually hosted the Pfeifenberg family.
That was cool.
Lucas Pfeifenberger was a famous architect, and his family decided to do their family reunion coming back to Alton, and they trusted us to host a Pfeifenberger architecture tour that we custom wrote the script just for them. It turned out fantastic. About 40 Pfeifenbergers were on the tour, and we stopped at 22 locations.
That's why I was actually going to call you when I saw the press release initially and went, I'll be on soon, and I'll just ask him, and we'll kind of get all this together. But, I mean, to be able to say that your guys' tour company, you know, and you have, your hand in a couple of different projects that you're developing, but how does it feel knowing that you're taking the reins over from your mom, that she started this, and now you're developing this for the next generation?
It's very exciting, and actually my mother is getting excited as well, so she
Cool.
works basically full-time for us, and a huge asset to the company, but it's fun to have that dynamic where I can kind of see that she's getting more excited as we're growing. And then in the beginning, she kind of thought, well, it's been a haunted tour business. I don't see what you're thinking with your forward-thinking innovation. And then now she's a believer, and I think we're getting, the community to rally behind that.
Right.
And with our new offerings, we're kind of very much diversifying. So we do have 4 new tour offerings. So we're doing Behind the Bricks walking tour.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah, so Behind the Bricks is a play off of our Haunted Craft Beer Walk, but we realize that sometimes we'll have participants that are passing on the small samples of the local beer. So Old Bakery Beer Company is our partner, another, community collaboration.
Staple. Yeah.
Yes. And so we decided to build this tour out that's very similar, that's going to get you in the same locations, get the same haunted history, but without the samplings involved. So then to play on the other side of that, we're actually introducing historical craft beer walks, because we understand Alton has a lot of historical significance.
Right.
Sometimes that gets overstepped by our tourism focused on paranormal haunted history. So we've diversified that as well. So we're going to have historical craft beer walks, Behind the Bricks walking tours. And then I really wanted to get more healthy family activities going in Alton. So we're actually launching our Alton City Shuttle Tours, which will be our Alton History Tours. These are going to go to different significant locations in the city of Alton. But also this is going to be our family-friendly one. So we're actually selling tickets at a discount for $30 for adults and $20 for children. So we're really going to try to bring more families in and try to tell them the story of Alton without necessarily putting them in, situations where there'll be, kids tagging along on some really dry type of,
Right.
things. And then, so we're going to try to make it a little more exciting, but also engaging and also just trying to really bring the tourists to Alton this year.
That's really cool. Now, when do those city shuttle tours start embarking?
Yeah. So we have it all. Our schedule's fully updated. So
Okay.
also, I wanted to mention to everyone that Alton Odyssey Tours.com has our 2023 schedule coming. So you'll see all dates on there for all tours. And we're going to hit the new tours pretty hard this year. So like I said, a 300% increase. So the city
Insane.
shuttle tours should be fantastic.
Absolutely. And with that being said, I wanted to touch base on this too. So with those Behind the Bricks haunted walking tours, I was reading through the press release and saw that honestly, this could be cool for, someone that has that older child, 16, 17 that, still wants to learn, but maybe doesn't want to be around all of that, the craft beer walk. This is still a good opportunity for them as well, right?
Very much so, yeah. So the Behind the Bricks is kind of going to touch on, we do try to, certain tours, we do have an age requirement
Right.
for them. Of course,
Needed.
the Haunted Craft Beer Walk is going to be over 21, and we check IDs at the door and ask people not to come intoxicated and things of that sort, which, we've really been stern on the last few years.
Well, you gotta be.
Yeah, we have to be, because we want to be respectful to the rest of the participants, because we really do want to tell the story, and we want it to be something that's not distracting every 2 seconds. Somebody's, interrupting our tour guides, and respectful to our staff and things of that sort. But no, this will be a fantastic. Behind the Bricks is going to be really neat, and we're actually going to try to build a podcast off it as well.
Right on.
So we're working with Stephanie from Alltown USA, and we're gonna, here hopefully in the summer, we're gonna launch some ideas related to that.
Really cool. And what's the best way for all of us to stay, kind of just up to date? And is that the best part, that Alton Odyssey, AltonOdysseyTours.com is what I'm on. Is that the best place to book your event schedule?
Yes, very much so. We're trying to keep all of our booking in-house. So, of course, there's all these third parties that you can work with. But we figured it's most efficient, and then also we can problem solve.
Right.
And so we have a landline that you can call, and then we also are very responsive via email. So, some people might have some questions in the moment as they're booking, and we can handle it all of ourselves. And so we've had some troubleshooting that we did. We had our new website built, and we're just like trying to make it easy as possible to bring people into Alton. We noticed last year that about 90% of our clientele is coming from outside the city, which is really neat as an entrepreneur, because I really am trying to stimulate the local economy, and the trickle-down economics is really starting to be prevalent when you see people are coming here and going to dinner before and shopping before and staying in a local hotel, and then, filling up their gas tanks here, so on and so forth, that it can really help everybody in the community, not just ourselves.
I completely agree. And folks at home, you're going, well, CJ, how helpful? Well, let me take you to this, because I'm on Alton Odyssey Tours.com right now. 904 haunted tours completed, 26,000 plus attending your tours, 18 overnight ghost hunts, and 31 years of conducting tours. And like you just hit on, that's 26,000 different folks that have been contributing to our local economy with going out to dinner. And, that's a great add-on to it. I want to ask you that. What's the business reaction been, with you guys taking this a step further with adding new tours and adding different spots to where hopefully you can collaborate with so many more businesses? Have you been met with good feedback?
Yes, very much so. And I think everybody's starting to really appreciate our business model, because we're not just profiteers. There's a lot of people out there that are looking out for the best interests of their self. This is really built off of trying to build Alton up as all of us together. So it's not, we actually have the, chance to really point people in the right direction as they come to Alton. So we're actually adding on to this list of our partnerships, and we're just kind of always growing. We have new ideas that we haven't announced yet, because we figured 4 new ideas and 300% increase for this year is good. And that's not even added. We've already done tours this year with the Pfeifenberger tour. And then last year we had some tech companies from St. Louis that booked private tours. We had groups come together that said, hey, this is what I want. And we could really easily bring that to life because of the talent of our staff. So, but yeah, I think the community is really rallying upon what we're trying to do. And also, we really want to tell the story, because there's a lot of historical significance in Alton that kind of gets overlooked. Yeah. And a lot of times people are, I come to Alton for this, or I come to Alton for that. But what we're really trying to do is tell them the story and kind of have them absorb our culture as they're here, and then take that back where they go and tell their friends, and then hopefully come to visit with larger groups and help more people along the way.
Well, and too, on top of that, you guys really make it affordable for everyone to do this too, because, prices keep going up, and I hear, the texters going, CJ, come on, you're giving me an event that I got to pay $100 for. I just bought groceries. And it's a good point. But with this, you guys are getting 3 hours approximately of entertainment and learning and knowledge, during these tours, and you're looking at low as $45, $30, even up to $60, $70. You want to do the dinner option. Was that a big component for what you guys were really developing to make sure everyone could utilize this?
Yes, very much so. So we've sold, since we've purchased the company, my fiance and I, we've sold every ticket that we've listed. So we've sold out every year since we've been in business under new ownership. So we felt like that was the reason for our double down this year, because we really are establishing brand trust, and we're really proving to people that we're not here to rip them off while they're here. We want to give them a lot of bang for their buck, but we want to keep them in Alton. We also want them to come back to Alton. So the trickle-down economics and the uptick in tourism is really our focus. It's not the profiteer side. Obviously, you mentioned I have multiple businesses, and I'm definitely a serial entrepreneur, but it's all for the betterment of Alton. And speaking of that, we're starting the tours at the Conservatory. So it's 554 East Broadway at 3 p.m. for the Prohibition Tour. And we're actually going to have 5 theatrical representations of characters from the 20s. So not only are you going to get this 3-hour tour, but there's going to be a theatrical component where you're going to be surprised, where you're going to show up, and there's actually going to be a theatrical representation at each location. At the final stop, which was back at the Conservatory, we're going to cheers the end of Prohibition with a collaboration beer with Old Bakery Beer Company based off the Prohibition cocktail Bee's Knees. So, we're actually custom making a beer for the tour this year in collaboration with the Old Bakery Beer Company. And it's just another way where we're cross-marketing and trying to help all of our friends along the way. So very excited. But, that's included in the ticket price as well.
That's really cool. And I got to ask you, out of all of these new add-ons, which one took the longest to develop?
Definitely the Prohibition Tour, just because, we've hired actors. I actually met with Jody from Vintage Voices, and in the very beginning of this, I wanted to be respectful to them, so I got her approval to approach her actors that they've used at Vintage Voices in October. Also, just to play even more nice, we've canceled October tours for our Prohibition to allow the actors time to get back to what they were doing from before. So we're actually, but we have costumes getting put together. We are custom writing scripts for all the characters, and and we want to be factual with all of our information. We don't fabricate. It's not like, oh, this could have been this could have been that, this might have been. We really want to tell the story, so then if you go to Lacey at Hainer Library and cross-check us, you're going to see that it was all actually built on factual information.
Thank you for pointing that out. Not to cut you off, but there's so many times where I've had folks that come in from, Australia, even that are friends of mine, that do a little bit of reading on Alt, and then I go, no. I don't know where you're reading that from, but go to genealogy and figure that out for yourself.
Yeah.
So that's really good to know, too. You aren't getting this fabricated, outlandish, almost like picture movie television, tour. You're getting knowledge.
Yes, very much so. And we're very thankful for our staff as well. They are as professional as you could be, and they really believe in the factual storytelling as well. So we have a lot of things to highlight in this city, and we're definitely not done highlighting them all. But it's fun as well. So our hard work is rewarding. We're trying to really help everyone and kind of put Alton on the map. I think Alton's kind of been overlooked for most of my lifetime, and I'm 34 years old, so I'm really trying to fight to change that and make it something that people get excited to come here on a trip. And I think us being next to St. Louis, in an international airport, fly in, rent a car, come stay a couple of days in Alton, and we'll show you all the things to do.
It's this thing Ray Hartman and I used to talk about on his show all the time, because he'd go, CJ, if you go to, go out on a trip, where do you tell people you're from? And I have to lie, and I say, well, I told him I'm from Alton. He goes, no, you don't. You say you're from St. Louis because that's the closest city next to you, and we're right there. So tie it in together like you guys are doing, and just take a little bit of a day trip and come experience Alton, too.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about seeing the data that's showing that 90% of our clientele is tourists.
Right.
And it's great because, that proves our point of kind of community togetherness and trickle-down economics. That's really important to thriving cities, and for our advancement, I think that we all have to grow together.
Absolutely. And Caleb, is there anything else I'm forgetting about right now that we need to get out?
I think we've covered most of it. The 4 new tours, AltonOdysseyTours.com. We're going to be very active on our social media in the coming months and try to update everybody. But, we're very responsive, so there's a contact button on our website. Also, you can email us at info@AltonOdysseyTours.com for any questions. And I think that really the main point is 4 new tours, 300% uptick. Great for Alton.
And for more information, AltonOdysseyTours.com. That's AltonOdysseyTours.com. Caleb, thanks so much for hanging out with me today.
CJ.
Really appreciate it, and keep up the good work on all of the businesses you're a part of. But, man, really excited for this one. Hey, I'm really excited, too, guys, with our Food for Thought segment with Linda Pedersen. I got to tell you guys that new classes are being added right here in our 618 region, because you guys need to get food safety certified. You want somebody that's not certified touching your food at the restaurant, Caleb? So you can join me and Linda Pedersen on the last Friday of every month with Ford Hotel Supply as we break down food safety. It gets you prepared for Linda's class. So for a full information on where these classes are taking place and the different types of classes you could take, like food safety manager, food handler, allergen awareness, bartender, sexual harassment, it's all there online with Safe Food Specialist and Linda Pedersen. SafeFoodSpecialist.com. That's SafeFoodSpecialist.com.